Hello guys, welcome to TMX Adventures. Lisa here. Hey, look, I'm whipping up a really quick afternoon tea for the kids today. It's been a big day, everyone's a bit tired, so I'm putting together some Brazilian cheese puffs. Now, there's a few hints and tips to make these really good, so come with me today. I'm going to take you through it. Now, I have started today with vintage cheese. You can use a tasty cheese, but no, there's two things you have to do if you use a tasty cheese. You have to use a flavorless oil later, because otherwise it is not very pleasant. Or you need to add something to flavor it, like a teaspoon of garlic or some Italian herbs or something that puts an additional flavor to it. Otherwise it doesn't quite taste cheesy enough. Okay, so I have actually started this recipe. Something else I will often use instead of tasty is Parmesan. That's a really good alternative. It does call for Gira cheese. I don't know if I pronounced that right. But that is quite a strong cheese, and you need some strength in the cheese, okay, because that is the primary flavor you're going for. If you've made this recipe, I want you to comment and say yes, I have. Some of you have had it at demos over the years, but let me know, is this something you are confident with making? Have you done it before? It's a really great, like, I love it. It's a filling food, and there's arrowroot in it, but there's no flour. So I do really like that about it. So 220 degrees, grease a 24 muffin tray. Rose gold is the best for this because you get a really nice rise. I'll put photos up later on, and actually those of you on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. But those of you on YouTube, you will see it as the beginning picture with the words over the top and the end picture. They are the final product. And you'll see it does a beautiful puff. If you use silicone, it's a real flat, it can be really lopsided. They really look impressive in the rose gold or a heavy sort of tray, okay? I love the rose gold, you don't have to grease it. So, in with the cheese, 10 seconds, speed 9. I actually stopped this at about 7 seconds because vintage and even tasty is a bit softer. I stopped it early. Okay, next up is some milk. I have done this with coconut milk before, works perfectly fine. I've done it with nut milks. The only difference with nut milks, actually I need to comment on dairy in a second. The only difference with your nut milks is you'll find that you don't get it as tanned on top, like it's a bit pale looking coming out of the oven, because the dairy is what browns a little bit, so it's just a bit pasty. Hello Linda, lovely to see you today. Okay, if you need this to be dairy free, obviously you're going to skip out the cheese at the beginning. Nutritional yeast. Okay, now it's not a yeast that you bake with, so if you've never used it before, it's not the yeast that you would use for bread baking. Okay, it's a special yeast. It smells like cheese. It often is used as a replacement in vegan cooking and things like that, but that would be your dairy-free alternative. Okay, so next up, vegetable oil. As I said, this is important. Where did I put it? Over here. That it's a flavorless. Okay, if you're desperate and you're like, I feel like these, but you've only got olive oil, you have to have a strong flavor somewhere. So get the garlic out, get some rosemary, get some herbs, get something over there that covers the olive oil. It still probably shine through a little bit. Some of you would be more refined in your taste buds and this would bother you, and others of you wouldn't really mind. But yeah, you definitely need something to punch through that olive oil. I've got sunflower. Grapeseed is a really good alternative, and obviously it says vegetable oil, right? You can use vegetable oil if you must. So 60 grams. How good is weighing oil rather than using a measurement? I just remember pre-Thermomix, inevitably in your baking, right? I tell you one of the first steps is to add, a third of a cup of oil. And then it would say, hey, put a third of a cup of flour in. And you're like, but my scoop is now all gross and oily and I have to hot wash it to get the oil off it, yeah? So, hello, Debbie. Lovely to see you on today. Okay, next up, 1 egg. Look at the lovely colour my chickens are laying at the moment. Check this out. The kids bought in the basket before. We've got all sorts of olives and greens and blues and the traditionals in there. So this is Toppy's egg. Toppy is a Marin Cross. So they've come in today. All right, arrowroot flour. All of our chickens have names. The kids know them. I don't know many of them. 170 grams. Now this, you can't swap this for corn flour. You can't swap it for gluten-free flour. You need arrowroot or tapioca. Okay, now you can get this in the baking section. It lives in a yellow I've just forgotten the brand, Mackenzie brand tub next to the baking powder and the bicarb of soda in that section. It's those same, cream of tartar, except it's bigger. However, that one little container will do one batch. It's like 180 or 190 grams, and you just put the whole container in. Go to your local health food shop and get scoops, or in the Asian section, usually where they've got the coconut creams and stuff on the very bottom shelf in most supermarkets. My local does not, but most Woolworths, Coles, there is a packet. It is see-through with blue writing, and it's called, I think it's called tapioca. Actually, a lot of Woolworths even stock it now on the shelf in the health food section, okay, as its own standalone. Again, mine doesn't, but a lot do. I've only got the cylinder if I want that, but we just buy in bulk. So that's how we do it. But yes, there's different options there. Arrowroot or tapioca, they'll act very, very similar. Just pick the cheapest per kilo one. Okay, 1 teaspoon of salt. And you could use veggie stock here if you'd like. I've done it plenty of times. I just didn't grab it out. Okay, 1 teaspoon, guesstimating that. And on with the lid. And now we mix it through. Where'd I put my lid? Up the back. I love, Debbie, that you've made this before and it's one of your favorites. It is an absolute hit. When they first came out, I've actually done this as a sweetened version too with sultanas and stuff, and it worked out really nicely. Over time, I've done like big ones in the standard muffin size and used them like a bread, kind of a bread roll. The texture does change a little bit when you've got the bigger ones. The little ones are, I reckon, more impressive. Paprika in them, bacon has been in them in the past, some bacon dust when I've had that on hand. There's lots of different things you can kind of play with in this recipe to make them just a little bit special, and even filling them with stuff so you can pipe into them things like a salmon cream cheese mix, like a dip, and put it on the inside. So anyway, let's blend this up. 20 seconds, speed 8. It's going to tell us to scrape down the sides. You do want to do this with gluten-free cooking. It's and being that arrowroot and tapioca are gluten-free, they are floaty. All right, they're a lot like corn flour. They can't be swapped with corn flour in this case, okay? But you know how corn flour, when you go to pour it out of the container, you get the whole lot, or when you're, it just floats. It's unpredictable. So that's why we need to get the bits from all over the place. Otherwise, you just end up with a few bits in, like dry bits in your little muffins. Okay. Does anyone watching on have a favorite flavor combo? Let us know if you do. We just got one more blitz and then we're going to pour it out. Now, if you've got the beautiful cupcake pan from the mix shop, it's amazing at making these nice and even. I don't worry about it. You'll see in a second how I do it. Okay, 5 seconds speed. I do have the cupcake pen, just not for tapioca. So I do use the cupcake pen, is what I was about to say. I have it, I've got 2, love them, use them for lots of things. I just don't worry in this recipe. It's kind of like a speed thing in this recipe. I'm just going to give you a view back here of the little cupcake things. Sorry that you don't get to see it fabulously. You can see how smooth that is. I love how just quick and easy that is. All right, rose gold, and this is how, I wonder if I need to work on my camera back here so I don't feel like I'm hiding out the way. So pretty much which one can you see? That one. All right, let's do this. So I fill it up 3/4, I move to the next one, fill it 3/4, and my kids will argue over who is going to eat that little bit that's between each hole. It reminds me of chicken, what are they called, little chicken drum, what were they called as kids? There was these little biscuits you could get, they were in like fish shapes, but I'm sure they were chicken flavored. It's been many years since I've had them, but they remind me of that, those little bites in between, so long as you've not skimped on the salt, otherwise it just doesn't taste right. But by the time I get to the end, it's coming up to the end, just get my scraper, So nothing goes to waste, and the beauty of the rose gold is that you'll find the little bits, like the whole lot, they're going to pop out. So you'll see in the photo later how easy they are just to pop out. Now, of course, to finish this, you want to put it on a pre-clean, and it just does an easy job of cleaning the bowl. I just like to remind people to use your pre-clean. Sometimes old habits die hard. And so in seconds, we've filled all those little cupcake molds up the back. Okay, done. So in the oven, 12 minutes at 220 degrees, and they're going to be nice domed shaped. Unless you've got silicone, then they're going to be flat shaped. So it tells you what to do. 12 to 15 minutes, 220. Please remember to put a timer on. You'll eat them burnt, but they taste better when they're not burnt. Okay. And by the way, with the timer, sometimes in these steps, and it's not in this recipe, maybe this isn't an Australian recipe, but there's times when you get to these steps of the oven cook and you actually bring down your timer and they will pre-populate the timer for you with how long you need. Okay, another thing to remember is you have this timer built in to your Thermomix. Okay, so that it will go off. But the other thing the timer does is it keeps your machine awake. So if you are doing a multi-step recipe where it says, hey, prove the dough for an hour, put your timer on for an hour. It keeps your Thermomix awake for an hour, but it also then going to pull you back and remind you that, hey, you've got another step to do. All right, guys, that's it for me today. I hope you go give this a go. If you haven't, you can see everyone's saying Linda loves these puffs, Debbie loves them. So yeah, give them a go. They are amazing. They're such an easy thing to make. They're great warm or cold, so fresh out of the oven or later on. And as I said, they can be fancy. They can be pumped with things and be an absolute beautiful kind of canapé style thing as well. Otherwise, guys, have a fantastic afternoon. Let me know if I can help you with anything regarding your Thermomix. I'm here to help you get the most out of it. So please share these videos with people you know who have a Thermomix, who need to know how to make Brazilian cheese puffs in their Thermomix, yeah? All right, guys, take care, and I'll see you in the next video soon. Bye for now.